We are T-minus 9 hours until the start of history being made. 4 astronauts are set to blast off from Kennedy Space Center on Artemis II with the goal of looping around the far side of the moon. The crew includes the first black person, the first woman, the first non-American astronaut on a lunar mission. And here's what NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman told CBS News yesterday about this mission.
These astronauts are going to go farther from Earth than any humans have ever been before, potentially faster than any humans have ever been before. We're fulfilling a promise that began more than 35 years ago for America's return to the moon.
Let's bring in Leroy Chiao. He is a retired NASA astronaut and ISS commander. He also has a new book coming out in June titled Dinner with an Astronaut. I'd love to do that. Leroy, thank you so much for joining us. Commander, thank you for your time. Tell us what you think is going through the crew's heads right now as they're preparing for this launch. And what do you think is the riskiest part of this mission?
The crew is very relaxed. They've been training for a long time. They've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Hopefully everything holds. It's all looking great. So hopefully we'll see a launch this evening. But yeah, they're in good spirits. I'm sure they're figuring what they're going to have for their meal before they go out and get suited up and go out to the launch pad. But they're in great spirits, I'm sure, and excited to get going.
Leroy, Matt here. So I have a question. We were on the moon over 50 years ago. Why is it so complicated to launch a mission given the advances of technology that have been astronomical, so to speak, over the past decades? Why is it so hard to replicate what we've done basically in the Stone Age of technology?
Sure. Back in the 60s when the Apollo program was going, the country saw this as an existential race between U.S. and the Soviet Union. And at the high point of Apollo, it was receiving about 5% of the U.S. budget towards trying to make that happen. Of course, we did succeed in landing humans on the moon before the end of the decade. We beat the Soviets, if you will, and then there was no more reason to keep going back politically. And so, things were cut. We moved on to the space station. And why is it so difficult to go back now? Well, we could spend a long time talking about this, but NASA, frankly, is not the agency it used to be. It's gotten a lot more bureaucratic. Hopefully, Jared Isaacman will stir things up. I think he was the right choice for NASA administrator and get things going. But anyway, to put it in perspective, it took Apollo 8, which arguably did a more complicated mission because it actually orbited the moon, 6 years from program announcement to actually doing that. This program, in one form or another, has been going on for 22 years. Wow. 22 years. We're just now we're about to launch the first astronauts into space on this exploration program. So there are a lot of different reasons. Yeah, you're right. The technology has been there. It's a matter of political will and funding, and of course, the bureaucracy that's built up over the years.
Bureaucracy and government, Commander. So I would love to take a peek behind the curtain. What is going on right now with the astronauts in quarantine? Are they in some kind of like apartment together? Are they all in individual hotel type rooms? And then you mentioned earlier that they're probably thinking about what they're going to have for their last meal here on the Earth's surface. Can you order whatever you want?
Yeah, so crew quarters is quite comfortable. We have crew quarters both in Houston and at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. So they go into quarantine in Houston, and then a few days before launch, they fly down to the Cape, and then in the operations and checkout building on site at NASA, that's where the crew quarters are. And they have their own rooms, but it's a floor that's dedicated to the astronauts. It's right next to the suit-up room where they're going to put their pressure suits on, and they get to relax basically in quarantine for the first time in a long time. They're looking over their notes, kind of thinking about what they're going to do, and trying not to eat too many snacks. There's a lot of snacks there, so but it's a relaxing time. It really is.
I can't imagine it being too relaxing, but I mean, we are talking to a guy who spent 229 days in space, so maybe it will be. Leroy Chiao, thank you so much. Let's set things back down to Florida Space Kennedy Center. There we got Rob Marciano. What do you got for us, Rob?
Well, I've got some people that are gathering here at Spaceview Park. We expect over 10,000 people in this area. In Titusville proper, might see 400,000 people. It's going to be, or 40,000 people, 400,000, maybe a million in Brevard County. So the sun's up. We're looking good here. And just talking to the people, feeling the excitement is pretty amazing. I want to bring in a friend of mine that I just met, actually. Now we go back a long time, about 5 minutes, right, Bobby?
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Bobby Sox has been witnessing space launches like this one since the 60s, the 70s. Apollo when?
Apollo 7, October 11th, 1968.
And then the last Apollo you saw?
I saw every Apollo, Apollo 7 through 17. The last Apollo was the 7th of December, 1972.
So you've been waiting since 1972.
53 plus years.
To see a moonshot.
Yeah, very excited about today. And you can feel the excitement here at the park. It's overwhelming. People can't wait for 6:24 this evening.
What are you looking forward to the most, and what do you expect to see differently than you saw back in the 70s?
I think the power is going to be significantly more. I think we're going to feel a lot of shaking over here on the riverside.
Even here?
Yep. We're going to feel a lot of shaking. Take about 10 seconds for the sound waves to come across, and you hold on to your equipment because it's going to shake. And you'll see these windows in these condos rattle, and it's going to light up the area, even though we're getting toward dusk. It's going to light up the area for about 30 seconds or so. And 60 seconds after launch, it's gone, and we head home.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Now you're gonna watch it and film it from home.
Yes, I am. I'm not too far.
All right, well, I'll let you beat the traffic. Thank you, Bobby Sox.
Thank you very much.
Looking good, man.
Pleasure to be here.
We love having you. It's giving me chills the way he describes that. Come on.
Yeah.
How do you not get excited?